Welcome back into the studio. I've got another critique video I thought some may find useful. So this is the reference photo. I'm going to jump straight in, and the drawing was done from this Pixabay reference. The drawing is 8x10 on pastel mat. Various pastels were being used, and the artist has specifically asked me to look at suggestions for a grainy appearance, and says that the stump erases pastel and blends too much for them. So I'm going to cover that as well. So that's the reference photo. The artist have only been drawing for 6 months. Here's the drawing, and it's really nice, I must say. The eyes are captivating. The nose is particularly well done. Lots and lots of detail and realistic colors in there as well. It's not an easy thing to do. And some wonderful fur details also. So really good job. How can it be improved some more? We can all improve our work. I don't think any of us are completely satisfied with it. I know I'm not. I'm always looking for ways to improve and learning each time. So let's take a look at that and see some ways we can improve. The graininess, I'll get to that in a moment, okay? Because lots of artists, they seem to always have questions about detailing, getting extra details, and all these smaller elements, whereas usually the way to improve is looking at the bigger picture, the bigger elements. So let's pop the drawing and the reference down side by side. Okay, so let's make these a little bit smaller so we can see them a bit closer together. So I'm just shrinking that one down like that. Bring the bottom up a bit. Okay, and we'll shrink this one down roughly the same kind of size as well. Okay, so the first thing I notice is the dark element, the background. The thing that makes this drawing really pop and look so dramatic, as always, is the value scale. So going from the darkest darks to the lightest lights to highlight in the eye and everything in between. So the very fact that that background is so black, let me just make a new layer on here. So if I take a little section out of that background and put it on there, let's make sure that's all 100% up here so you see it. You can see just how much darker that really is. Okay, so that's going to make a huge difference to the drawing for a start. If I put that around the edge there, see how much more the dog is really standing out there. Okay, so that's a big difference. So how do you get it that dark? You won't get it that dark with pastel pencils, and you won't get it that dark with pan pastels. Okay, they don't go as dark as that. The only way you're going to get this darkness is by using soft pastel sticks. They don't have to be soft as such, but that's what we'd call them. Pastel sticks will go this dark. Also the Cretacolor pencil will go that dark as well. A Cretacolor chalk, that is, okay? That goes into a chalk or a lead holder. You see that on lots of my more recent videos. So that's the suggestion for the darkness, okay? That's how you get it that dark. You will not get it that dark with pastel pencils. Doesn't matter which brand you're using. Next thing is, let's look at the actual color of the dog. Okay, so if we take a point out of there on this side of the dog and then bring that over here, and I'll make this a bit larger. Okay, so I'll select it right there. I'll go to exactly the same part on the dog and put that there. So you can see there's a massive difference in color. Let's look at the muzzle as well, around here. Now obviously there's variety in there that gives the realism. So and let's look here as well. That's more of the middle of the colour there. So you can see we've got much richer colours actually on the dog in the reference photo. Real deep dark brown, and that's something again you won't get in the pencils. You need to get that from pastel sticks. So you know, if you want to get, there's some things that pencils won't do and pastel sticks will, and it's mainly the blacks, the extreme blacks, the pencils won't do. Okay, they'll go really dark and it's all right for around the eyes and things, but if you need it extremely black like this, you want to go for sticks. And the other thing is very rich dark browns like this over here. That again you won't get in the pencils. Now the Caran d'Ache go very dark with the browns, but they lose the richness of colour. If you want it even redder dark brown, like I said, sticks are what you want to look at there, and you'll see me use them on my drawings. Lots of the other colours, the pencils can do that whole range. It's really about that richness in the darks. What I've also done here, if I get rid of that, I've actually put the reference photo over the top of the drawing, and then I've cut the top off just so you can see the difference in colours. Okay, the artist has the tonal values, you know, really good, and that's why this still works. Okay, so the most important part is the tonal values, that's the lights and the darks. That's why it still looks like a realistic dog. Then the colours come next for importance. So if this was a pet portrait, the owner may, you know, be saying, well, my dog is a chocolate Labrador. Okay, so you would accept or expect that chocolatey colour in there. Now that's what I say about artists that mention usually about fine detailing and those types of things, whereas you really need to get the groundwork, the base colours and tones just right first before you even consider the detailing on top. Now let's talk about that detailing. So if I zoom in, this drawing is 8x10, so if I zoom in probably a little bit more than that on my screen, I've got a large screen, that would be around about the 8x10 inches. I can't see any graininess in the eyes or on the dog whatsoever. I can see a little bit in the background where you could have another layer on there to help that. Now what the artist says about stumps erasing and blending too much, that's very true. Okay, so let's go in a little bit closer. When you watch my videos, I will only be doing anything with stumps or using the stumps on my first layer. Okay, they're there for one purpose for me, or the way I use them, and that's to get the pastel down into the lower layers of the pastel matte paper. So that texture, when you touch pastel matte paper, it's got kind of a felty texture to it. It's really hard and resilient though, but it's actually made from cork fibres. If you look under a magnifying glass, you see all these small fibres crisscrossing and going in different directions. I use the stump to push the pastel down into the lower layers of that texture. If you just use the pastel pencils in particular, because they're a bit harder, especially on this side, you will see a grainy looking appearance. That's that pastel sitting on the surface of the texture. You want it to get down in there, otherwise you're always going to see little bits of the paper showing through. So you just use that on the first layer, then you build up more layers on top, so you don't have the graininess anymore. You then just use your pencils or your sticks on top of that. Okay, you don't want to be blending, say, the highlight in the eye. You don't want to be blending that with a stump. It'll just keep muddying it and dirtying it. Even a clean stump, it'll push it in and you lose the punch of the color, the impact of the white. So if you need to blend from the white into this more yellow ochre color, then you'll use your pencil and just go for a colour that's slightly lighter than the white, and do that a little bit on the side and blend with the pencil, and then go for a colour that's slightly darker and blend with the pencil again, blend with the tip of the pencil in there. Okay, you'll be going small circular strokes and blend in as you go. I show this on quite a few videos. So you don't want to be using the stump at all. If you want to soften it at all, you can use a perfectly clean finger and just rub it by the side, and you'll probably want to re-establish then the white just in the brightest part. Okay, so if you're using pan pastels for your first layers, you won't need to use stumps at all. Okay, the paper stumps, because the very nature of the applicator, the sponge applicators with pan pastels, automatically pushes it down into the surface of the paper. So that's doing what the stumps would do, and then you just build layer upon layer on top of that. Okay, so as I said, wonderful drawings, really, really good, but I know you all like to then see ways for improvement, and I think the main way for improvement would be to get that color right first of all. Now, in my other video, which I think is probably my most important video, I'll link to it after this one, I show about the ways to look for the colors, to assess the colors by making small swatches, and also by rubbing your pencil or pastel on there, putting it right up to the reference photo, and then putting it up to your drawing, so you keep checking as well. That's the way to get accurate colors, so that you can then tackle any subject. It doesn't matter if it's a cat, a dog, wildlife, or if it's a still life, a sky. This is the way to do it. If I kept giving out numbers, so let's say for instance this was one of my lessons and I was giving you all the pencil numbers I was using, it'd probably be loads and loads of pencils of different brands. When you go on to your next subject, you're stuck because you don't know what to do and what to pick. So that's the lesson that really teaches you how to see colors and get the accuracy in the underlayers. So many thanks for the artists for sending their wonderful drawing in, and after only 6 months drawing, I'm really excited to see how they progress, because it's a brilliant start. And I'll see you all again on the next video.